Hi, this is Rarindra. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I created the portrait that I took 8 years ago. So it's been a while, and even the person in the photo passed away 3 years ago. His name is Mr. Prapto. He was 83 when I took his portrait. And 3 years later, the picture became one of the best portraits in 500px. Mr. Prapto is really nice person, friendly and easy to work with. And more importantly, he is used to be a puppeteer during 1940s and 1960s. So basically, he is a quite expressive person. By the time I first met him, he was a street bicycle technician in front of my daughter's school. But how I created this portrait? At the time, I didn't have a large enough room in my house. I got only a 3 by 4 meter room, functioned as storeroom that was already half filled with various household items, including my photographic gears, and it has only 50 centimeters window. So my idea was that because he used to be a puppeteer, so I provide him a costume that suit his profession. And also I noticed he was still actively smoking. So I also provide an antique smoking pipe for him to make a vintage looks. Okay, the setup is very simple. I only need a black fabric to make a dark background in the photos. I close all the light source, windows, doors, but still leave a few light so I can still put the focus point on his face. The main light I used was only a portable Canon EX582 flash. Now is discontinued, and a transparent umbrella as a diffuser, and a simple radio transmitter. But the most important for me is how I set up the light direction. The setup is as follows, and I direct his face 3/4 frontal so that the face form 3 dimension. And remember, his facial wrinkles must look prominent. Hence, I choose side light to reveal the texture. In camera, the mode I used was manual, so easy to control the exposure. The aperture was f10. Why? Because the distance of the lens to the subject is very close, approximately only 40 centimeters. So that small aperture number can cover more focus areas or depth of field. Oh, the lens I used was 70-40 millimeter f4, and I used 40 millimeter. Then I set the shutter speed at 1/200 so that the ambience, especially the background, can be really dark. Lastly, the focus point is at his left eye. Then I set the flash aperture at 1/16 with 105 millimeter zoom to get the narrow light. And this is the result. I wish I could take another picture of him. I would like to correct two things. First, increasing the aperture number a little bit more like f16, so the right eye will also be covered in depth of field area. And the second thing, I would like to raise the flash a little bit higher so that the umbrella will not be appeared in his glasses. The editing of this photo is quite simple. We can almost do it in Adobe Camera Raw and little further in Photoshop. Okay, this is Adobe Camera Raw which I usually use to develop my RAW file. And it is mentioned over there all the camera data that I use during the session. The first thing I usually do is two things. First, go to lens correction and check these two options. This is essential, especially if we shoot with wide lens to reduce the effect of lens distortion. Next thing is going to detail section to adjust the noise reduction. I usually only play with two sliders: luminance, which is black and white part of the picture, and color noise, which is RGB part of the picture. As I shoot with lowest ISO of the camera, then I think I just need around 15 and just a tiny bit of color noise adjustment. The first thing we notice in this original picture is too strong highlight that obviously came from the speedlight. We need to reveal the details in all the values: highlight, midtones, and shadow. It is easy, we just need to decrease the highlight slider all the way to -100. Now we can see the texture in the highlight area. And we already got the details in midtones area. But how about the shadow area? In this case, there are some part of the shadow area that I consider too dark, that I'm not able to see the details in that area. But of course, I don't want to make the picture looks like an SDR picture. And what we are going to do is local adjustment by using radial filter. First, make sure that I set inside and set the feather at 75. Actually, the default number is 50, but I want the effect look smoother. Set the reset all the value to 0. Next, I increase the shadow slider around 50, and then at the same time, I also increase noise reduction slider a little bit, like maybe 30, because increasing the shadow value sometimes can introduce noise. Next, let's start brighten up some shadow area in some part of the subject. Like now, the skin tone is too red. Easily, we can use the target adjustment tools. Choose saturation to reduce the saturated red, and choose hue to get more yellowy skin a little bit. So actually, it's just point the sample color you wish to change by using the right click, hold, and drag it to the left or right to change the color. Or the easiest way to get natural color is by using white balance tool. Just click in the area that near to gray color. The last step is local sharpening. Remember, it is just local, not overall area. For this, we can easily use adjustment brush. Reset the adjustment so all the sliders set to 0. And now we can set clarity to 25 and texture to 15 and start to brush the area that might have details to reveal. If you have any question, just put the comment down below. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.